Good evening, brothers and sisters. Glad to be here. And this is the last time that I'll be coming before you tonight. The very last time. I'd like to say to you, Assalamu alaikum, which is peace. Peace be unto you. A peace that surpasses all understanding. We have to get ready. We got some things coming up. Two things in particular. Donald Trump is going to win the presidency of the United States. So we have another Trump presidency, another 4 years of Donald Trump. That's coming. That's coming. We'd rather deal with Donald Trump than deal with Biden. Biden is a hypocrite, and I'm no fan of Trump or Biden. Let's make it clear. But if it's not raining, don't piss on my head and tell me that it's raining. And I feel that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democratic Party are an obstacle to Black progress. They are our obstacle. And we'll never get anywhere leaning on the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. What we need to do, you and I, is to establish our own party. We have the Black Coffee Party, and all you have to do is look it up, Black Coffee Party USA, and all those things will come up. And that's our own party. We had everything to do with it. Our own party. I remember when we were setting these venues up across the nation before Coffee Party USA stole our idea. So we still have Black Coffee Party USA, which is 1.5 million members. All you have to do is go on Facebook or find it there, Black Coffee Party, or go on Wikipedia. Put in Black Coffee Party USA, and they'll show you the coffee party will come up. So that's something that I think you should do. We have to be concerned about the presidency of Donald Trump, because there's something great coming down the pipeline for us, whereas we'll have to organize and form our own stores and start using those, because racism will advance itself. It's advanced itself now already, but it will advance itself even more so. So the thing that we have to do is to increase our independent business model. Now, many Muslims already know what the independent business model is. But a lot of you that are not Muslim or Black Muslim, whatever you want to call it, don't know what the independent business model is. The independent business model means to do for self. Find a habit that you're very good at, a hobby, and increase that hobby. Increase that hobby so that it will become beneficial to you, it will become financial to you, and it will show a sign of stability and independence. Okay, so we have a great work ahead of us, brothers and sisters. We have a great work ahead of us, and we have to be ready. This world is being turned over to us. It's being turned over to us, and we won't need the white man to give it to us, right? But if we get Trump in there, at least we won't have to worry about them jiving us, because he'll tell us exactly what he feels. So we'll know how to continue to work and how to prepare. Is that right? Right. And I feel that if you want to get a chance to bypass race relations, I feel the best way to do that is to get Donald Trump in there. Donald Trump get in there, we can bypass race relations, and we can concentrate on the necessary integers to change our problems, our situations in the community. We have the right formula. Is that right? We have the right formula, the right equation to carry us into the century of freedom, justice, equality, and we will have independence as Black people, and freedom as we can receive it. I wouldn't say freedom as we know it, because we're not free. We're not free at all. But freedom as we can receive it. So my desire, my prayer, brothers and sisters, my desire and my prayer is that we will come together, and that we need to get beyond Biden. We need to survive Joe Biden. We have to survive Joe Biden. And Sleepy Joe needs to just go to sleep. Is that right? He needs to go to sleep, because he's certainly sleeping on us. And he's been lying about this stimulus for so long. They even got commercials out about stimulus and all of that. And no people have even gotten a stimulus. Not that we want a handout, but my God, Joe, don't lie to us. Don't lie to us. Tell us the truth. But that Joe is tricky. Joe is tricky. He's tricky. And so Joe is certainly tricky when he got a friend named Dickie. So we can't trust Joe. We can't trust Kamala Harris because she's a house slave. Yeah, the Democratic Party is functioning just like the Dixiecrat. The Dixiecrats own slaves. Is that right? And the Dixiecrat forced the black people inside of their army, right? The Confederate Army, they forced black people into segregation, right? Forced them into integration, forced them into socialism. And they've been working, the Democratic Party has been with black people some 70 to 90 years. And what do you have to show for it? What do you and I have to show for it? We don't have anything to show for it. We used to be Republicans. So I'm going to give you an education today. The Democrat Party has been privy to black people post 1959, the Kennedy and Nixon administration. But prior to that, black people were Republican. Before the Kennedy and Nixon administration for president or candidacy for president, black people were Republican. And when you were Republican, you got more done. When you were a Republican and independent, what you would call the lily white Republican, is that right? You got more things done then that you became Democrat. The only reason that you became Democrat is a young president, rather Senator Kennedy was running for president, and they were young. You had Senator Bobby Kennedy, right, that was helping his brother John campaign for president. Nixon was running for the Republican Party, right? But the Republicans had committed the worst sin, an egregious sin against black folk. And what they did was they began to attack black establishment, right? They began to attack it. And blacks working inside of the federal government, especially the nation's capital. If you looked at the movie Hidden Figures with, I can't think of the sister's name. I just paid homage to her. But she helped John Glenn, Neil Armstrong, all of them. She wrote the equations. Vivian Johnson wrote the equations for them to get into atmosphere, which was a process of science called lobbying. It's a process of science called lobbying that will get them into the exosphere, and then from then on, they'll be able to sail to the moon because man was on a race in the different countries for going to the moon. So she used a process and equation of entropy and mix it with lobbying, right, which is projection, to put man in space, because that's the first challenge. You got to put him in space before he gets in the moon. Well, this was a black woman that did this. She was black, and she worked out this perfect equation to get him up. Okay, so the problem comes then is you have lots of black scientists, lots of black mathematicians, which they would call computers then, that were on the federal bases that couldn't even, and the federal facilities, and couldn't even use the bathroom. They wouldn't even let them go to the bathroom. I want you to know that. And that's what was going on. That's the stuff that was going on in America. And so it's because of Vivian Johnson, one of the chief reasons they started to say, look, we gotta allow these black people to use the restroom. We can't keep treating them like this. We can't keep them in these positions, and they're working for the federal government. But the Republican Party, right, began to fight against it. They began to commit to egregious behavior and racism, discrimination, all these things against black people. And black people needed promises. They even attacked the Republican Party, even attacked, along with the Democratic Party, Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was the base of our foreign and domestic allegiance to the stock market that gave us an independent part in the stock market. Slaves created that on Greenwood, Out, and Pine. So when you hear the group called the Gap Band, that's what it means. They were from Oklahoma. It was Greenwood, Out, and Pine. And when they say you dropped the bomb on me, baby, they was talking about the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombing that the U.S. government had bombed. Both Democratic and Republican Party did that. The Democrat and the Republican Party did that. Now, and the reason I say that is that you don't have, when I say Democrat and Republican Party, I'm talking about the white parties, because you don't have a black Democrat and you really don't have a black Republican. I'm just being real with you. But now you'll get a better shake over in the Republican Party, because at least those whites over there are not afraid to say that they're racist. They're willing to work on it. But it's the Democrats that pretend that they're not racist, all because there was a pact made in 1959, the 59-60 presidential race between candidates, President John F. Kennedy and Richard R. Nixon. And as you know, John F. Kennedy won the Democratic nomination for president. Then he had to find a vice president, but we won't get into that yet, because then we have to get into the assassination of John F. Kennedy and who's responsible for it. But for this point, we're going to say that black men and women and children turned over to the Democratic Party because John F. Kennedy made promises in his 1959 speech address that he was going to give ultimate freedom. And the fact that he was willing to keep this ultimate freedom, right, the promise of giving blacks ultimate freedom in 1962, 1963, really infuriated the Democratic Party. And I know some of you are probably saying, why did it infuriate them? I mean, isn't the Democratic Party for black freedom? The Democratic Party has been dealing with you 74 to 82 years, 74 to 83 years, and you still haven't had any freedom? Matter of fact, some 90-something years, and you still haven't had any freedom. As a matter of fact, you haven't had any gains. You haven't had any gains. So brothers and sisters, you have to rethink that. So if you're telling me that you've advanced, just because you're standing shoulder to shoulder with these people that you say are your friends, that are still, their policemen are still killing you, right? Their families are still killing you. They talk about gun rights for everybody except the Negro. They talk, right, and they're killing you. Won't allow you to defend yourself. The Democratic Party is responsible for the LGBTQIA movement. Is that right? And they're getting the civil rights that you and I have been fighting and dying for 90 years. You still don't have it. You still don't have it. That's not a friend. That's not a friend. And you say the white man is your friend. And so, and someone asked me when I used the term friend with the term white, they asked me if I was making a contradictory statement as a Muslim. But I'll say this: to be friendly and to be a friend is totally different. The white man may be friendly to you. He may be friendly to you. And we talked about it. We've already been given the example by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that if a wolf is being kind to you, right, and you are a chicken or you are a lamb, right, he's being kind to you so he can get the chicken on his plate. He's being kind so he can get the lamb chop on his plate. So you got to know that. And if he's a fox, just because he looks less harmless than the wolf, don't mean that he's your friend. He's just more clever, right, as seducing you and making you feel comfortable. Because again, if you're the chicken, he's trying to get the chicken on his plate. And if you're the lamb, he's trying to get the lamb chop on his plate. There's not much difference between the fox and the wolf. And they don't run together. We understand that. They don't run together. But there's not much difference between them. There's not much difference between the fox and the wolf. Both of them are from the canine family. Both of them have canine. Both of them will eat chicken and will eat lamb chop, right? They'll both eat goats. Isn't that right? They'll both eat chickadees. They'll both eat chicken, right? So there's not much difference between them. The pack may be different. The pedigree may be different, but they're still from the canine family. And you have to understand that both of them are just trying to get you on their plate. There's no difference between the fox or the wolf, right? There's no difference. The only difference is that the fox is less hypocritical than the wolf. He's gonna come right on out and run after you and get you, and he's gonna make you his meal. And that fox is not as big as a wolf, not as strong as a wolf, and he's got to get you a little closer so that he can bite your jugular vein. And once he gets the jugular vein, right, he can drink your blood and then feast on your bones. But both of them are carnivorous, and both of them are from the canine family. So you got to know that, brothers and sisters. And this is the knowledge that I put out before you. So, you know, Trump is no better than Biden. They're both racist, but at least Trump as a wolf will use this analogy that the Democratic Party is the fox, and the Republican Party is the wolf. And you and I will look crazy running out of the arms of the fox to the wolf, or running out of the clutches of the wolf to the fox, when both of them are part of the canine family. And as sheep, if you're a sheep, it's just a dangerous place to be in. is worse than a rock between being between a rock and a hard place. Isn't that right? So, brothers and sisters, we've got something coming up. Man, when this campaign really takes off, because Trump has already beat him out. He's already beat him out for the candidacy. He will be the front runner. And it's amazing. It's going to be amazing to see who he'll get to run with him. Nikki Haley is talking tough now, but he may get her to run with him, right? He may get her to run with him. She seemed to be a little more conservative. But I told you, they're both from the Canine family. They're fox and that wolf. So you just don't know. You just don't know. Then you got Tim Scott. Tim Scott may be running. He may be running right beside his employer. I hesitate to say boss because I know. And another thing too, I won't say Uncle Tom because I just found out in the papers that it's libel if you say Uncle Tom. So I won't call him an Uncle Tom. I won't call anyone an Uncle Tom. But what I will say, black people are more beneficial to work amongst themselves to get the political change and the political maturity that they need, the religious maturity that they need, the psychological maturity that they need, and the sociological maturity that they need. And that's what we need. We need to start building up something for ourselves. We've got to build it up. We'll never get it. If you're waiting for the master to get you what he has, you'll never get it. If you think that racism will be ended overnight, you'll never get it. And I tell you the reason why. See, I'm trying to help you. But I know there's some people right now, especially blacks, say, well, he's still causing trouble. He's been causing trouble for 25, 30 years. The only thing that I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you, if you allow me to help you, is that the white man is not your friend. He's not your friend. And that's okay. That's all right. And I know I got to tell you, but it's a shame that I got to tell you because all you got to do is read the history. And you tear down some Confederate statues is not going to make him love you or turn over a new leaf. You got to know that. I wouldn't waste my time tearing down no damn statue. For what? Statue and laws won't change the minds and hearts of people. How these people are dedicated racists. They put you in slavery. It wasn't just the Democratic Party that did it. The Republican Party did it too. And the Independent White Party did it too. All of them benefited from slavery. So you're out of your mind. If you think that the white man will love you so much, you're out of your mind if you think that he'll love you so much that he's going to put an end to oppression. I want you to understand, you have to understand this, that white privilege is the same as racism. It's racism that gives them white privilege. I don't understand why you can't see this. I really don't. I don't understand that. But I had to go on this litany, right? Because we're coming into our introduction, but I had to go on this litany. I had to have you to understand where we're going to be coming from. And I'm going to quiet it down. I'm going to slow it down now, right? We're going to slow dance just a little bit, brothers and sisters. We're going to slow dance a little bit so you can understand exactly what's going on. Understand exactly what you're up against. We have better be organized this time around because we already know what can happen and we already know what has happened. Is that right or wrong? Right? Now they came, right, against the Capitol and there were some promises made. Don't you think for 1 minute, not for 1 minute, I don't want you to think that they have forgotten. Because they haven't. We got to be steadfast. We got to be unmovable. We got to be always abounding in the work of God that has been given to us in the black community. You and I have to do this. And our work is cut out for us, brothers and sisters. Our work is cut out for us. Because we've got, oh my goodness, such a chemistry of political fire like never seen in history before. Now, with that being said, it'll be a very powerful time for black people. For us as black people, it will be a very powerful time because we'll have to lean and depend on ourselves and we'll have to move in the power of God as God will deliver us in these futile times. These are very fickle and futile times. God will deliver us. Will deliver us. He said, I'll set you in perfect peace if you keep your mind stayed on him. So God will teach us right? Everything that we have to say, we won't even have to think about it. We won't even have to think about it. He'll teach us. He'll guide us between all right and wrong. God will. His spirit will speak to us in this time. And I don't know about you, brothers and sisters, but it makes me rejoice. Wherever God is, it makes me rejoice to know that God has everything under control. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for every incident where God intervenes. I'm thankful for that. I tell you, he's just so good to us, brothers and sisters, and he don't have to be good to us. God knows we don't deserve it, but I'm so glad that there's unmeritable favor, right, with us, people that have suffered a long time, people that have been under the yoke of bondage of this master a long time, and finally, we have been given freedom through the power of God to walk out of this level of bondage. And I want you to see that God is moving. They caught us and put us in chains, came over in our countries and colonialized it. But little by little, the shackles of poverty, the shackles of oppression, and all of that is falling off. The more intellectual we get, the more intellectually free we get. These internets that were created by a Nigerian are releasing the bonds because we're able to sit in our front room and visit other countries. We're able to pull up information, right? We have literally dwarfed distance. We've dwarfed the distance, whereas it would take us hours to get over into another country. Now we can sit down in the comfort of our living room, our offices, and we could go on the internet and take a mental flight, a virtual flight into another country. And we can even communicate with individuals. It don't cost us anything except the price of the internet to take virtual vacation, to talk with people, and to be able to correlate with people that see the same vision with a Pan-Africanism scope, that have the same goals, the same ideals, and that is to make their community better, to make their community better, to make their churches better, to make their home better. And we can't do it without the direction of God. Brothers and sisters, we need God. We need God in our lives. We've got to have God in our lives. And if we have God in our lives, if God be for us, then he's more than the world against us. And I'm a living witness, brothers and sisters. I'm a living witness that I've known God when I was young, and now I'm embracing age. And I can say I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor have I seen the seed bed bread, because God is there for us, brothers and sisters. And I'm so thankful for that. So thankful. Thankful for the life of my brothers and sisters, to find out that they're well. When I say brothers and sisters, I mean every black man and black woman on the planet. And my desire, my prayer is that you will be educated and intelligent to use the power of God. So I want us to look at the message to the black man. Most honorable Elijah Muhammad was given this wisdom to write this beautiful book so that we could get some understanding. This message of the black man, and I like to always refer unto it, right? We want to read the preparation and its meaning, right? We want to read that the washing and cleansing of all exposed parts of the body of filth and uncleanness, to stand and bow before the Lord of the worlds. The rinsing out of the mouth, the impure and evil, that the mouth is guilty of speaking. Number 3, the washing of the hands, that are subject to the handling of clean and unclean things. They are cleansed to be spread before Allah, the Lord of the worlds. The Holy Quran says that our hands will bear witness against the evildoer on the day of resurrection. They will say, O hands, why hast thou borne witness against me? The hands will say, as Allah make everything bear witness, so has he made us to bear witness. Whatever we do, every member of our body plays a part in it. The feet are washed up to the ankles if they were exposed. The feet should be washed once a day, even though one wears shoes. A total bath should be taken if there was sexual relation. He is now ready for prayer. He stands erect with his face and body toward the rising sun, the east, in the direction that the earth is rotating and all the planets. In this direction is the holy city of Mecca, the only holy place on the earth. From this direction do we look for Allah God. and his angels to come to judge the world. He lifts his open hand with his thumbs pointing inward, his earlobe. He says, Allah is the greatest. Twice, I bear witness that none deserve to be worshipped beside Allah. Repeat twice. And that the Muhammad is his last apostle. Twice. The regular prayer caller in the minarets of the mosque calls the prayer from 4 directions: east, west, north, and south. And he repeats, Allah is the greatest 4 times. He begins his prayer by saying, surely I have turned myself to thee, being upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth. I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifices, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the world. No associate has he. And this am I commanded, O Allah, thou art king. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. Brothers and sisters, I read to you from the page 147, and at the opening of the preparation and its meaning, preparation of prayer. So as you can see, we have a standard for righteousness. The Bible has a standard for righteousness too, brothers and sisters. The one that is called the Magi, the Mahdi, who came in the person of Yahshua Aliyah Asa, or the one you call Jesus. The Christian goes to John 3:16, which is their foundational scripture, brothers and sisters, for the beginning of their enlightenment. For it was Yahshua Aliyah Asa who said, I came not to do away with the world, but I came not to do away with the law, but I came to fulfill it. And so we're going to go to John 3:16, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. John is the 4th gospel in the New Testament. We have to learn those books. We're going to one of these teaching sessions. We're going to learn the books. We'll learn the books of the KJV, the old King James Version. Has to be the old King James Version, brothers and sisters, because the arrangement is a lot better for your understanding. We're going to learn the books around that time. So I'll be teaching those very quickly. Learning the books of the Bible, learning the books of the Quran, or the Quran, as you say, the Quran or the Quran, as you say. So we're definitely going to do that, and that's going to be great. It's going to be fun. But John 3:16 is a foundational scripture for the Christians, and I like to read this. This is about the black Jesus, not the white one. I keep telling you, the white Jesus is wearing a Ku Klux Klan hood, and he's nothing but a Klansman. The white Jesus and the white Santa Claus and all these white people, right, they put in front of you are their saints. And they're saints unto death, not saints unto life. But John 3:16 reads on this wise, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish, but have everlasting life. The 17th read, excuse me, brothers and sisters. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And the 19th read, and this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hated the light, neither come to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth come to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. So brothers and sisters, as you can see, the stage is set for us, right? Stage is set for us to be holy, right? Isn't that right? Or to be righteous. When I say holy, a lot of you all probably mistaken it for me saying that you need to be perfect. You can't be perfect in these bodies. You can do the best that you can do, but you can't be perfect. I believe it was the black apostle Paul, because Pauline was black, Paul was black. He said, when I desire to do good, evil is always pressing. So that I can't find strength to do good, but evil I can perform. Oh, what wretched man am I? So that I would not do, I find myself doing, and that I would, I cannot find the strength. Oh, what wretched man am I? Who shall deliver me from this bond in my flesh? And he says, I thank God that with my mind I serve the law of God, but my body the law of sin. In other words, I may not be able to control everything that I do, even my thoughts, but nonetheless, my will is to do the work of God. And that will shall save you, for that will is in the middle of a will, right? And that will is shelter in the time of storm, isn't that right? And it is a light, what? Unto our feet and a lamp unto our path. And this light that came into the world, right? The word that became flesh and dwelled among us, right? Came into the world, not to condemn the world, because the truth will have to burn off all falsehood, all lies. But he came not to condemn the world, but that through him the world might be saved. And that light of salvation, Mauricelm-Lei, or the one we know as Jesus. So, brothers and sisters, I want to just go to the 19th Surah of Miriam again, because it's a very saturated area and has very powerful. And at some point, we're going to read Miriam from the Josephus account too, which is the black historian that recorded all of those that are of the true national house of the Jews by blood. But right now, we're consulting the Quran. And that's the 19th Surah of Mary, which is called Miriam. And we'll begin reading at the 39th verse, when it says, and warn them, O prophet, of the day of regret, when all matters will be settled, while they are engrossed in heedlessness and disbelief. Indeed, it is we who will succeed the earth, and whoever is on it, and to us they will all be returned. My goodness. Isn't that some good news, brothers and sisters? Isn't that good news? That God has said that we're going to win anyhow. And you know, that makes me want to go back to the gospel according to Revelation, right? The seals according to Revelation, because I believe it's Revelation 20, and we're going to find it together. It tells us the end of the story. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be afraid, because it tells us that we are going to win. We live our lives as a story that's already been told. And I want to read, right? Because you need to know that the victory is ours. So let's read a little bit of that. We're going to skip around and read just a little bit of it. Just a little bit of it. I believe it's Revelation 20 and the 7th verse, which showed that Satan was loose, the doom of Gog and Magog, right? The doom of Gog and Magog, those that are in power, that are oppressing you, and the children. So the death of the oppressor and the oppressor's children and the oppressor's children, right? And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose. This is after the millennium, what they call the millennia, which is a dispensation of time, 1,000 years, where Satan will be locked down, and Yahushua, the one we call Jesus, will come to reconcile the world back to him. And once he do that, and these 1,000 years are gone, then it says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, which is the oppressor, and the children of the oppressor and their children, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and the fire down from God out of heaven, and devoured them. The doom of Satan and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet, you hear that? The beast and the false prophet. You got a lot of false prophets, brothers and sisters. You got a lot of false prophets. But if we get on God's side, we don't even have to worry about it. All this stuff is coming out now. Trump is coming into his second term in president, and he will win. And we're going to see everything come out of the woodworks, even false prophets and devils that'll be running black demons in the community. But those of us that are standing with God, if God is for us, he's more than the world against us, because as you just saw, when the enemy camp all about us, then the Lord will lift us up. He will save us. When others forsake us, God will save us and send fire down from heaven and destroy the enemy. And if God said it, brother and sister, I believe it, and that settles it. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. The doom of the unbelieving dead, the last judgment. And I saw a great white throne, and he that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small, great, stand before God, and the books were open. Another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the book, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Brothers and sisters, God has given us a chance right now for us to understand exactly what's going on, what mindset we must have. We have to stand for righteousness, because in the final analysis, it doesn't matter whether Trump and Biden is president. Now, I don't want Biden to be president, because I feel that with the non-hypocritical leader, black people can see what's against them and get farther. And one thing about Trump, he'll always let you know what's on his mind. We have to use that for our advantage. We have to use that for our advantage and make the progress that we need to make for the sake of ourselves. So I'm thankful about that. Now, brothers and sisters, we're going to move from that, because we already know what we got to do. We already know. But we want to move from that, and we talk just briefly about this situation with Beyonce. Now, I know a lot of y'all look at me crazy when I put that post up that Beyonce is on drugs. I'm not the only one saying it. I'm not the only one saying it, but I've noticed and seeing her, she looks very high. A lot of the analysts are saying it, that something is going on with Beyonce. So much so that Jay-Z can't even control her. Sexually, he can't control her. And now the drugs that he's been giving her is wearing off. They said, hold on, brother. You said Jay-Z gave her drugs. Just hear me out, brothers and sisters. Just hear me out. You ever watched a performance of Beyonce prior to her going to country music? Have you ever watched her performances? You watch her performance when her personality come out on stage, Sasha Fierce? Have you been paying attention, brothers and sisters? Has it been so long since the death of our sister, the dearly beloved Whitney Houston, that you can't see what's going on and how controlling? At least Bobby Brown loved Whitney. Bobby loved Whitney. But can you see how controlling Jay-Z is? And he sort of reminds you of Puff. Yeah, he reminds you of P. Diddy. The way he liked to control his woman. One of P. Diddy's ex just sued him for millions of dollars because he had her in fear and he wanted to control her. Cassie, she got away from him. He's a crazed lunatic. Same man beat Kim Porter to death almost. Broke her nose 2 months before she died. And he had to fly in a plastic surgeon to do work on her face. And she tried to cover up for him to make him honorable. But you can't cover for a devil or a demon. I should say demon, because they're working for the devil. The devil is behind them. But you can't cover for a demon. They got a job to do for Satan. You got a lot of black people working for Satan. I'm concerned about those in our community that are working for Satan. I'm concerned about that. Because we got to get prayed up and we got to get powered up to cast these devils out of our community into outer darkness. You take that whichever way you want. Whichever way you want. But Beyonce looked like she be high. She looks high. Now, I'm not the only one saying it. See, I want you to check this. I want you to check it because I'm not the only one that's saying it. Tina Knowles exposed Jay-Z of the same thing. This is Beyonce's mother exposed Jay-Z for controlling his daughter with drugs. Kanye West exposed Jay-Z for controlling Beyonce with drugs. And Kanye would know. Beyonce herself admitted to being addicted to drugs given to her by Jay-Z. Huh? Have you seen the Facebook and internet footage of her being high, almost out of her mind, on drugs? I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for her because this is not only Jay-Z's fault, but it's also her mother's fault for prostituting her daughter out for money and contracts. Oh yes, Tina Knowles is used by Satan and is prostituting evil and using her daughter to sell sex. Before she even met Jay-Z at 17 years of age. And he's talking about he waited. You know, you and I both know that Jay-Z did not wait before he touched that 17-year-old. How old was R. Kelly when 14-year-old Aaliyah was under his care or tutelage? I hesitate to say care and hesitate to say tutelage. But Jay-Z was messing with Aaliyah too. So was Damon Dash. Dame Dash is as responsible for her death, Aaliyah's death, as Jay-Z and R. Kelly. Now, it was so bad with this Aaliyah thing until Biz Markie made a video and a song about this young girl that he was seeing in his video. It got so bad that the rapper started sending messages and trying to protect. You know, they got pretty bad, trying to protect the young girls in the community. So we got to understand what's going on. We have to see it, open our eyes to it, and pray for deliverance of Beyonce from the devil's clutch, from the demon Jay-Z, before we have another Leah death on our hands, or we have another death like Kim Porter on our hand. So Beyonce's dad had slammed Jay-Z for getting his daughter on the drugs. Another thing is Solange and Jay-Z got the fighting in the elevator, if you remember. When they got the fighting in the elevator, brothers and sisters, if you recall, they got the fighting in the elevator. Solange attacked Jay-Z. The reason was because Jay-Z, his dark side, right, had got Beyonce on these drugs and he was controlling her with the drugs, right? So that she would have to do everything that he says. So he is controlling Beyonce. You remember when Beyonce turned the drink down when she was at the Grammys? There was something in that drink And she didn't want any of it. She'd had enough drugs for that night. She didn't want any more drugs. And something tells me she's trying to get away from Jay-Z. And her bodyguard even said that she's on drugs. And Jay-Z is facing what could be a major crisis. A major crisis. Now, believe it was December the 12th, 2022, when Beyonce put a ban on drugs and alcohol in that tour. In that tour. So we got a lot going on, brothers and sisters. We have a lot going on. We know that a lot of the entertainment stars are talking about it, but I believe in 2024 that a lot of this stuff is going to come out, and I don't think it looks very good for Jay-Z or Diddy, but we need to make sure that we look out for our sister Beyonce and be praying for her, brothers and sisters, because we need to turn over to God. Because if we don't pray for her, we'll have another thing on our hand. The same thing that happened to Whitney Houston. The same thing that happened to Dorothy Dandridge. We have the same thing that happened to Aaliyah. Death. Left eye. We'll be losing people, right, through murders or drug overdose. Same thing happened to Michael Jackson. It happened to Prince. We'll be losing these people if we don't stand in the power of God as black people. We've got to do it. The white man can't do it. He's the one selling the drugs. He's the one giving the drugs to the black pawns, the black demons that do the will of Satan. He's the one that's giving them the drugs to give to our sisters and our brothers. And we've got to be proactive rather than reactive. So we need to be praying. We need to have the ministry should be increased to street ministry where we're literally reaching out to people and have a spot where we're actually greeting the people and encouraging them. We've got to change the atmosphere one person at a time. And we have to live the life, and we got to stand correct. We got to live righteous. We have to be righteous. We got to do that, brothers and sisters. It's time now. It's been time. Don't talk about the stars. I see people making jokes about the Whitney Houston and Diane Sawyer interview. It's sad. It's so sad how we disrespect our people. It's sad. It's sad how we disrespect our people. But we've got to deliver Beyonce. Her mother has pimped her out. And now Jay-Z, as a drug dealer and a pimp, has overwhelmed her with these drugs. So we need to pray for her deliverance. We need to pray for Tina Knowles' deliverance. Besides, she should stop wearing all that short stuff she's wearing. Her time is past. Button up your shirt, put you on a long skirt, and grab your Bible and get into somebody's church. Yes, Tina Knowles, your time has passed. And you should be ashamed of yourself for what you've done to your daughter. You should really be ashamed. So we have to pray for her and let Beyonce know you have more to offer than your body and selling sex. You're a gifted singer, but we just want you to be respectful. You got a young daughter coming up that's going to need you in your tutelage. We don't want it to be a case of Whitney Houston and her daughter, Bobby Christina. Both of them died on drugs. My God, brothers and sisters. This thing is serious. This is serious. People's lives are on the line. This is serious. This is no game. That's our problem. We got too many hypocrites out there. Too many hypocrites. Let's live the life. Let's put the work in to deliver. And let's black support black. It's going to have to happen with black people and within our community. It'll have to happen with us. If we don't do it, it won't be done. We are the children of God. We have been given the power from on high, to deliver, to loose, and to set free those that are in bondage. And brothers and sisters, when you get spiritual freedom, then you receive religious freedom. Then you can receive social and psychological freedom. You can receive that freedom. For the scripture says, the one whom God has set free is free indeed. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Ephesians 5 says, stand therefore in the liberty that ye have been made free. You have been brought with a price. You have been freed. So we've got to stand in that liberty, brothers and sisters. And we have to be willing to walk, talk upright, to be upright, to behave upright, so that they'll be able to see the light that is shining in the darkness. Let our light so shine before men that they'll be able to glorify the Father which is in heaven. So it's not us. All praises due to Allah. It's not us. All praises due to God. It's not us. But we're happy for the occasion to be an instrument where God can use us, where we can show love and affection and be able to help our people. That's my desire. That's my prayer. That's God blessing to us, you and I. That's his blessing to us. So brothers and sisters, I'm thankful. I know that you are too. I know that you are too. Be in prayer for our dear sister Beyonce and all the others that are on drugs. Be in prayer for Cat Williams as he go across the country. I do believe God has called him, but at the same time, I believe that God needs to clean him up and sanctify him so that he'll stay strong. You put out that kind of truth, you got to be on guard. But I know that God can help him. We pray that Allah will continue to bless Shannon Sharp's show so that he will continue to get these things out so black people can air out the grievances. And I believe that our sister Monique is called at a time such as this to bring people together. Let her heal and teach others how to heal. Taraji Henson needs to stand strong. All the black people in Hollywood that's being mistreated need to stand strong. Because there's a lot of drugs and sex involved in that too. It's the devil's playground when we're in sin. It's his playground. And we're not in control when Satan is in the court. We're not in control. And there's only one that can handle Satan, and his name is God. We'll handle the devils, but we have God to handle Satan and the spirit of Satan. And we already know because we read that we have the victory, and the story has been told of our deliverance. And we know that Satan, his devils, the lake of fire that burns with fire, brimstone, and hell will be cast into outer darkness, be cast into the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. Hell and Satan and all of his angels will be cast. Even people that have sold their souls out will be cast into that lake of fire. You're going to be in the judgment. And I think it's Isaiah, the 14th chapter and the 16th verse that says that Satan is this the one that made earth tremble, that did make the nations of the earth tremble. Is this he? But it said that we'll see him no more, right? This is a man. This is a man. Satan is a man. I'm going to read it. I want to read that to you. Isaiah, the 14th chapter and the 16th verse. I want to read that to you so you'll see. Lots of times people think you're just pulling things out of the air. This is the book of Isaiah, and we'll start at the 11th chapter. The book of Isaiah, the Old Testament, Isaiah, if you go, and I'll tell you how to find it. If you'll go to the Song of Solomon, the next book after that is Isaiah. And this is the 14th chapter, and we'll begin reading at the 11th verse. You can find the correlating verses. You'll find those correlating verses in the kingdom set up, Israel restored and exalted. It's talking about us. Not talking about the white Israel. That's not the real Jew. Jesus said those that call themselves Jews and are not. So this is white people running around here calling themselves Jews and they're not black. You have to have black blood in you. You have to be an Adullamite or a Judean to be a Jew. Come from Palestine, the very place that they stole. You have to come from there in order to be a Jew. So it's not talking about a nationalistic Jew. It's talking about a heretical Jew, which is us. So The 11th verse reads, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Satan, the real prince of the world, this is who it's talking about, and the organizer of Babylon. America is Babylon. Babylon is the city of oppression. Babylon is the spirit of oppression that covers this world against all the darker people of this world by the white man, otherwise known, according to our teachings in the Nation of Islam, as the devil of this planet. Isaiah the 13th and 1 also notes an address through his tool. Isaiah calls him the beast. And the 12th reads this, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? You have the nation scared. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation and in the sides of the north. In other words, he'll blaspheme. In other words, he'll try to overthrow God. Who are the stars of God? That's us. We are the stars of God. We shine like stars. Every time one of us come to Christ and remember our power, then we shine. This is the light of God in darkness. That's us. I will ascend above the height of the clouds. Who does that sound like? Who wants to be in charge and keep you in bondage? You already know he's in charge. Who's in charge and keep you in bondage? They're called the prince of this world, Satan. And so his devil is his children. And they want to run the world. Isn't that right? I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. This is what Allah God is telling Satan. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? What? Isaiah 14 and 14 said, calls Satan a man. You think this Bible make mistakes? Brothers and sisters, this Bible know exactly what it's talking about. The Quran also calls Satan a man. And the most honorable Elijah Muhammad also calls Satan a man. And he gets it from the Bible and the Quran. This is in the King James Version Bible that I'm reading. Isaiah 14 and 14. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoner? All the kings of the nation, even all of them, lie in glory, every one of them, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of the grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, and go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden underfoot. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial. Your body won't even last, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. In other words, God's going to destroy you. God's going to have the worms to eat them up. You won't even have anything left from them. Eat the bones and all of it. Prepare the slaughter for his children. What? The devil and his children. Prepare the slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of the fathers. We're not going to leave any of the evil. Right? God's going to destroy the parent, the evil parent, and the children, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for bittern pools of water. I will sweep it with besom of destruction, saith the Lord. The Lord of hosts has sworn, saying, surely I have thought, so shall it come to pass. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. So as you know, we read in Revelation and also Isaiah, if we'll just follow God, the victory is ours. Brothers and sisters, I'm not going to hold you much longer. It's coming to an end. It's been wonderful to spend this time with you on each of the recordings. And I'm thankful for your patience. And as you know, you can go to YouTube to hear the rest of the matter. Many of you, some of you falling asleep, you already know that you can go and listen to it. That's one of the good things about having it on live, so you can always go back and see it. And my desire and my prayer is that you will see and receive it and allow God to do a mighty work in you, so that when God does that mighty work in you, that you'll be able to show it and show gratitude by hearing what the reader says, hearing what the speaker says, so God will be able to bless you in a mighty way. So brothers and sisters, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this time. Glad it's coming to an end, and we'll be back on schedule tomorrow. I have to be honest and say that it did take some discipline to do these 4 shows before you. And now this is certainly come to an end. Now, brothers and sisters, please support. Please support. We always put in the chat a link. Be able to support everything that we're doing. And we like to send you gifts. So if you support it, we'll send you a book. These books are expensive books, but we'll send it to you for free once you make a donation. You see, we're going to work it like a donation. You send what you can, and we're going to make sure that you get it. And more than anything else, we want you to have the knowledge. We're not concerned about the money. We want you to have the knowledge. So, brothers, support black. Sisters, support black. If there's a black business in your community, support that black business. Support that black business. And want you to see that God will certainly bless you and put you in a position so that someone will do the same for you. We need black support. We don't want the white man support. We need black support. It's time for that. Time for us to receive the support that God renders us to one another. And his support won't fail us. And we certainly won't fail one another. So certainly we put a link up to support back. And I'm also saying support all black businesses in your area. Support all black businesses in your area. Because we certainly need to support one another. We are coming out of this bondage, brothers and sisters. We're coming out of this bondage. What will you do? You talk about walk around in heaven. We're not talking about a spiritual heaven that you can't experience. We're talking about a physical heaven. Well, we're out of bondage, and every man is able to live in peace. Isn't that right? Where every person is able to live in peace. So, brothers and sisters, as we come to the end of the show, pray and be in the right mind. Those of you that are preparing yourself for Ramadan, I'll be preparing myself with you. We're thankful that we had a successful Savior's Day. We're certainly thankful for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who taught black nationalism as Muslims, for Muslims, and for the black nation as a whole. And also, we're appreciative to Albert Cleage, Dr. Albert Cleage, Reverend Albert Cleage, for teaching black Christian nationalism. And thank him for the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And we're thankful for Garveyite churches. We're thankful for the Pentecostal movement and all of those that support black people, that are pushing black truth, that are trying to help black people. And for those that are not on board, we ask you not to wait, brothers and sisters, but get on board. Now, I also put this information, Veggie Station. What I told you about Veggie Station. We've got some great stuff, fresh foods. We like to service you in that. Huh? Yeah, we can. We like to service you in it. Give us a chance to support you. And you have the chance to support us. Veggie Station number 2 has fresh vegetation and things like that. So we want to send you that information, right? You'll be able to get fresh produce. Now, we also want you to be able to set these things up in your community. You can set up a veggie station in your community, brothers and sisters. That would be a business model to set up. And it's very easy to set up these stations. Very easy. It doesn't cost very much. some of you could get together and open up a franchise of registration, so you'll be able to help your community. Also, I want to tell you we have the links for paraphernalia and things like that you can get. So I want to put those things down too. You can buy items, equipment, and things of that nature. And more than anything else, just be encouraged. Be encouraged. That change is going on. But I want you to keep, as the old folks say, your hand to the grinding change. But that change is definitely going to come. I love you, brothers and sisters. I'll put down this last link. Put down this last link to tell you to, this is the equipment you can get. Right? There's clothing in there. There's equipment that you can get. And everything that you do will be supporting the movement. Everything that you do is always supporting the movement. Remember that. Okay? We love you, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to hold you any longer. I appreciate the time, and I'm ready to get off, and I know you're ready to get me off. So I say unto you, I love you. Peace unto one and to all. And I say unto you, Assalamu alaikum, which means the peace of God be upon you and your family. Assalamu alaikum.